When you go to work every day, I will be worried that you will not come back. Hey, our man?
I'm rushing for a job tonight, so I will be home a bit late.
Then I'll reserve a meal for your dinner. Be careful. Come back early. Come back earlier.
Okay, it's time to work. Aw, man. Have you heard the news this morning? There's one worker killed because of falling from height. It's so unfortunate. It's not unfortunate. In fact, many accidents can be avoided. In this accident, the worker involved just installed the metal brackets for Truss-out Scaffold on the plaster layer. The holes drilled for installing expansion anchor bolts were oversized, and thus reducing the pulling force on the anchor bolt. Besides, the concrete embedded with the brackets cracked significantly, reinforcement bars were exposed, and rusting of the reinforcement bars would cause spalling and cracking of concrete surface, thus reducing the holding capacity of the anchor bolts, and finally caused the brackets to come off and the truss-out scaffold collapsed. The worker was wearing a waist-type safety belt at that time. However, as the anchorage point on the external wall was too far, the lanyard of the safety belt was not long enough to attach to the anchorage point. There were no other suitable anchorages, independent lifelines, safety nets, nor other fall-arresting systems. Worst of all workers had not received formal training for scaffolding and held no valid certificates for scaffolder. The work was not conducted under the supervision of competent person. Thus, it is not surprising to have the accident happened. What is the correct way to do it? When working on bamboo scaffold, we will wear suitable safety belts and attach them to proper anchorage points, independent lifelines, and fall-arresting systems. We also have to make sure that the work is done by adequately trained and experienced workers and supervised by a competent person. There are so many things to pay attention. You should tell earlier. For the truss-out scaffold you are standing on, I have just simply installed 2 anchor bolts for each bracket. I do not know whether it will collapse. Are you kidding? Hey!
Dear,
What's the matter?
I'm so worried about you.
Today, I was working on the truss-out scaffold, which was supported by 2 metal brackets. They were fixed onto the horizontal tie beam near the bottom edge. About 2/3 of the expansion anchor bolt was gripped by the layer of cement plaster on the surface of the horizontal tie beam. The remaining 1/3 of the length of the anchor bolt was embedded in concrete material. The plaster layer could not bear the load and thus caused the anchor bolts for fixing brackets fell off. However, fortunately, your husband was so smart to wear a safety belt at that moment. For works on bamboo scaffold, a safe system of work should be established and followed. The system should include a risk assessment for work at height. Check the external walls base materials of the building to ensure adequate strength before work commencement. Establish proper working procedure and provide adequate information, instruction, training, and supervision on the project. Each bracket must be fixed with a minimum of 3 anchor bolts. The scaffold should be securely supported, properly installed, maintained and repaired, and inspected by a competent person. Workers should be wearing suitable safety belts, which are attached to suitable anchorage points, independent lifelines, or fall-arresting system. I will take all the precautions next time.